Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened throughout the annals of history to date. It's recorded history. Join us as we delve into yesteryear, not only for interesting and important events and happenings, but to possibly even answer questions you do not know you have. The sources of this information come from the Smart Device application, Today in History, What Happened Today in History, Historical Calendar, and the website onthisday.com. For links to these sources, the music in the background, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am Aoxander, and you, viewer, are you. We may or may not get Balloon in today. We shall see. He was getting flares, which, it's an indicator to headache. So, we'll see. Anyway, today is September 18th. It is Moon's Day, aka Monday, 2023. So let's jump into the history today, shall we? And actually, I forgot I needed to open this. Hold on a second. Scripts, September 18th. Alright, there we go. Now all's right in the world. Let's start us off into history today, shall we? We have, in the year 96, Nerva was proclaimed Roman Emperor. Hold on a second. Is the music really loud? No, the music is not really loud. So, Nerva was proclaimed Roman Emperor after Domitian was assassinated. Ew. Oh, that'll do it. We also have 324. Roman Emperor Constantine the Great decisively defeated rival Emperor Licinius at Chrysopolis. That's a name. It's 1437. A peasant uprising in Transylvania. All right, go peasants. 1454. In the Battle of Chongqing, the Polish army was defeated by the Teutonic army during the 13 Years' War. The Teutonic Knights. Moving on up into 1502, Christopher Columbus landed at Costa Rica on his fourth and last voyage. Alright. 1544, Peace of Crepy signed by Holy Roman Emperor Charles V and French King Francis I, ending the Fourth Habsburg-Valois War. Wow. The fourth one of those. Okay. 1635, Emperor Ferdinand II declared war on France, and he was a Holy Roman Emperor. Good old pencil head. 1720, are we getting into 1670s? I don't know where 1720 came from. 1670, French Bishop Jacques Benin Bossuet appointed tutor of the Dauphin, the son of Louis XIV. Alright. 1679, New Hampshire became a county in Massachusetts Bay Colony, New Hampshire. I knew someone from there. Really wish I was still his friend, but he is unable to understand that certain things. Anyway, 1739, Turkey and Austria signed a peace treaty. Austria ceded Belgrade to the Turks. 1755, Fort Ticonderoga in New York open. And what was it, like an amusement park or something? What do you mean open? It's a fort. I don't think it opens. I think it becomes operational. I'm not sure. What's the actual term for when a fort opens, when it becomes operational, when it begins being used for its duties? 1759, Battle of Quebec ended. The French surrendered to the British, who captured Quebec City. 1769, John Harris of Boston, Massachusetts, built the first spinet piano. What is a spinet piano? Spinet piano? Piano? Let's see here. Spinet piano. What is a spinet piano? Okay, well, whatever this is. What is the difference between a spinet and a piano? Okay, well, that's not letting me anything. Alright, well, if anybody knows more about spinet pianos, please let me know in the comments section below. We gotta continue on, though. We have 1789. The first loan was made to pay salaries of the presidents and Congress. Alright. 1793, U.S. President George Washington laid the cornerstone of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Alright. 1809, Royal Opera House in London opened. Okay. 1 year later, 1810, Chile declared independence from Spain. This is their national day. Alright, let's have a cheer for Chile. Independence. 1811, British East India Company force led by Baron Minto conquered Java, part of the Dutch East Indies. Stanford Raffles appointed lieutenant governor. So companies acting on behalf of corporations going to war with each other. Yikes. Or not corporations, but governments and whatnot. Anyway, 1812, the Great Fire in Moscow burnt out after 5 days, leaving 75% of the city destroyed and 12,000 people killed. Wow. Napoleon. French guy, you know? Moving on up to 1837, Charles Louis Tiffany and John B. Young co-founded a stationery and fancy goods emporium in New York City, later renamed in 1853 as Tiffany and Company. All right. Well, happy birthday, Tiffany and Company. You overpriced, Chinese manufactured stuff. 1838, Anti-Corn Law League was established in Great Britain by Richard Cobden. Anti-Corn Law League. What? What? I'm trying to understand what does that even mean. British organization founded in 1839. Actually, that's weird. It says here 1838. Okay. Devoted to fighting England's corn laws, regulations governing the import and export of grain. It was led by Richard Cobden, who saw the laws as both morally wrong and economically damaging. Well, I mean, he's correct on both accounts here. So let me, where did it go? I want this. There we go. Okay. No, there we go. All right. Let's see here. Where did everything go? Everything went haywire. All right, moving on up. 1848, baseball ruled first baseman can tag base for out instead of runner. All right, that would make sense. 1846, Elizabeth Barrett and Robert Browning exchanged their their last letters before they moved to Italy. Well, let's see here. She was born in 1806, and he was born in 1812. And this happened 1846. Okay, so they both were very much adults. I just had to look that up because there is an article here, I think, or maybe it was an article from the past of a show that we didn't do, but it was an actor getting married to a 17-year-old, like a 36-year-old actor or something. I don't know. We'll get to it, I think. Anyway, let's move on up here. 1848, we got that. 1850, U.S. Congress passed fugitive slave law as part of Compromise of 1850, requires slaves to be returned to their owners. And thankfully, a lot of people did not follow through with that demand. 1 year later, 1851, New York Times started publishing 2 cents a copy. Well, here's my 2 cents, New York Times. 1862, Confederate armies officially divided into corps. Gotten big. 2 years later, 1864, Hood's Tennessee campaign began. This is also known as the Franklin-Nashville campaign during the American Civil War. Well, let's take a look up at this here really quick. And while we're doing that, Compromise of 1850. Let's start putting down some research links here for people. Fugitive slave law. All right. So hold on a second. Fugitive slave law. The act required that slaves be returned to their owners even if they were in a free state. The act also made the federal government responsible for finding, returning, and trying escaped slaves. So I'm gonna have quite a bit of links in the underbar of the description for y'all to have a gander at. But I think these are pretty significant. So let me let's see here. It was the Compromise of 1850 was a series of measures proposed by U.S. Senator Henry Clay and passed by the U.S. Congress to settle several issues connected to slavery and avert the threat of dissolution of the Union. And that was before the Civil War, so it did eventually dissolve anyway. But as you've been seeing, I've been compiling links while I've been talking, just so that way there's no dead air and whatnot. Franklin-Nashville campaign. Let's see here. It was a series of battles in the Western Theater conducted from September 18th to December 24th in Alabama, Tennessee, and northwestern Georgia during the American Civil War. All right. So now that we're caught up with all the links of further reading, if anybody is interested in that stuff, let's move on up to 1873. Government bond agency J. Cook and Company collapsed, causing panic on Wall Street. This is the start of the Panic of 1873 and the Long Depression. 1881, Chicago Tribune reported on the televideo experiment. What is a televideo? Televideo, like television or something? Televideo. Let's see here. Oh, well, it's a corporation. Hold on a second. Chicago Tribune. Let me look this up here really quick to see if the actual article brings up anything. Well, no, it's just bringing up the link that I just got this from. So, oh well. If anybody knows a little bit more about that, please let us know in the underbar or in the comment section below. Moving on up to 1882, the Pacific Stock Exchange opened as the local security board. 3 years later, 1885, riots broke out in Montreal to protest against compulsory smallpox vaccination. Compulsory, not mandatory. So they're given the option if they want, and they're rioting over that. And nowadays, you know, like look at what's going on nowadays. Like, people are just so beaten into submission. We have got to get a backbone. We have got to stand up for ourselves. Moving on up to 1891, Harriet Maxwell Converse was the first white woman to become an Indian chief, Native American chief, I believe. 1895, Booker T. Washington delivered his famous Atlanta Compromise speech to the Cotton States and International Exposition in Atlanta, Georgia, suggesting blacks focus on vocational education and economic advancements over equality for the present. That is, wow. I am going to put that into the peanut because that is extremely relevant to today's world. People are so preoccupied on their skin color and what's between their legs and you know what's between their ears that they don't seem to realize the similarities. All they see is differences. Where's the peanut channel? There it is. Let me add that in there really quick. Let's see, you're moving on up to 1895. Daniel David Palmer of Davenport, Iowa, gave the first chiropractic adjustment. And I need one really bad. I think I'm developing scoliosis. Scoliosis? Not sclerosis. I hope. I don't know. 1899, Scott Joplin granted copyright for his Maple Leaf Rag, the most famous ragtime composition, by the U.S. Copyright Office. Cool. Cool. 1903, Phillies Chick Frazier no-hit Chicago Cubs 10-0. 2 years later, we have electric tram line open in Rotterdam. An electric trampoline. Electric trampoline. That sounds hilarious, actually. Hold on, let's see if there's such a thing. Electric trampoline. Like, well, that's a water-bound trampoline. I'm thinking about like a trampoline that has like, you know, the like electric fence around it. If you hit the fences, you get a zap. That's, you know, like, hold on a second. Bruce Stu trampoline. This is a funny video. You gotta watch it. Like, imagine an electric trampoline with this video. So, let me just add that into the underbar for you. Moving on up, we have in 1906, a typhoon with tsunami kills, that's weird, an estimated 10,000 people in Hong Kong. Holy crap. That's a lot. 3 years later, 1909, the largest paid baseball attendance, 35,409. A's defeated Tigers 2-0 in Detroit. Alright. 365 days later, 1910, 25,000 demonstrated in Amsterdam for general male and female suffrage. So they both wanted voting. So what's going on? 1 year later, 1911, Britain's first twin-engine airplane, the Short S-39, was test flown. Well, let's take a look at that. Short S-39 airplane. Let's see here. Oh, okay. That's cool. 1911. Alright. Alright. We also have, in 1914, General Paul von Hindenburg was named commander of German armies on the Eastern Front. I wonder what's with, like, the little holes. That's supposed to be, like, for a ribbon or something? Like, or I guess, no, like, for a plume. Maybe. Yeah. 1914, as well, Irish Home Rule Bill received royal assent. Alright. While that was going on, the South African troops landed in German Southwest Africa. German Southwest Africa? What? Well, the colonies, you know? So everybody's colonizing Africa. 1915, Jeeves and Bertie Wooster made their first appearance in P.G. Wodehouse short story Extricating Young Gussie, published in the Saturday Evening Post in the U.S. Extricating? I never heard... That word is kind of weird. Hold on a second. To free someone or something from a constraint or difficulty. Okay. 1919, Dutch Second Chamber accepted female suffrage. Alright. While that was going on, hurricane tides 16 feet above normal drowned 280 people along the Gulf Coast. Yikes. 1922, The Browns' George Sisler's 41-game hit streak was stopped by New York's Joe Bush. Not Joe Schmo, but Joe Bush. Also, Hungary was admitted to the League of Nations. And I'm getting a little hungry too. Maybe I'll have a turkey sandwich. 1927, the Columbia Broadcasting System went on the air with 18 stations and WOR and NYC affiliates. Alright. 1928, Juan de la Cierva flew the first helicopter above Channel. The English Channel, I think, maybe? I'm not sure. While that was going on, San Felipe II / Okeechobee hurricane made the fifth and final landfall near Edisto Island, South Carolina, as Category 1 storm. The total impact of event caused 4,100 people dead, $100 million in damage, or $1.6 billion as of 2020 in damage. Wow. While that was happening in 1928 as well, the St. Louis defeated the Phillies 4-2 at the Baker Bowl in Philadelphia. 20th Cardinals win of 22 starts between the two clubs in 1928. All right. 1930, Philadelphia A's won AL championship for its second year in a row. I almost did the diamond A and trying to do the YMCA. You know, I'm not in the Illuminati. Trust me. Believe me, they would not allow me. They do not like me. 1931, to create a pretext for the invasion of Manchuria, China, a railway explosion was faked by the Japanese. Yeah, false flags. The Japanese do it too. 3 years later, 1934, USSR admitted to the League of Nations, the predecessor to the United Nations. Yep. Soviet Union. 3 years later, 1937, the first New Zealand State House opened in Miramar. State House, like, I guess, government or something. 1938, the Chicago Bears defeated the Green Bay Packers 2-0. Oh, how about them Packers, don't you know? 1939, William Joyce's first Nazi propaganda broadcast. Yeah, this Nazi politician, or fascist politician and Nazi propagandist. U.S., British, German, and Irish. Whoa, he was all over the spectrum. Oh, Lord Haha, this guy. Okay, I know about him. He was a bad dude. We also have 1940, 19 German aircraft shot down above England. Battle of Britain, yep. 2 years later, the order of, actually before that, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation authorized for radio service. Alright. The CBC. Then we also have the order for, quote, extermination of asocials through labor, end quote, was approved by Nazi Minister of Justice Otto Thierek. And we're sprinting towards doing that again here in the States. Just, you know, a different group of people that I'm part of. 1943, Adolf Hitler ordered the deportation of Danish Jews, which was unsuccessful. All right. 1944, during World War II, British submarine trade wind torpedoed Junio Maru. 5,600 people were killed, including 1,377 Allied prisoners of war and 4,200 Japanese slave laborers. Wow. Wow, so they're like mostly just not even enemy combatants. That is... Oh, man. That's a bad ship to sink. Oh, man. While that was going on, we also have, during World War II as well, Eindhoven, Netherlands, freed by U.S. and British troops, Lightly Day. Alright. And also the U.S. 266th Division defeated German troops at Brest-Brigantine in Brittany, France, after a 7-week siege. 37,000 prisoners were taken, and ports were rendered useless. 1945, 1,000 whites walk out of Gary, Indiana schools to protest integration. Well, I don't agree with those 1,000 whites. Doesn't matter what you are, we're all humans. Integration, you know, should just be natural. It shouldn't really, like, you know, even be, you know, used. We should just always be doing it, you know? We should have always been doing it. 1946, Joe Louis knocks out Tammy Morello in one for heavyweight boxing title. Alright, knocked down. 1947, the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, officially came into existence after being established by President Truman in July. Yeah, Truman. You of all people established the CIA. 1947 as well, the U.S. Air Force created a separate military service by the passing of the National Security Act. So this is Happy Birthday USAF. Let's see here. Where's my chair? There we go. So yeah, the most recent military branch created was the Space Force, and before that it was the USAF. So, 1947, the U.S. Department of Defense, first day of operation, has to be because of the NSA, National Security Act, non-National Security Administration, that's something else. You know what, if anybody wants more reading on the National Security Act, let me look this up here really quick so I can provide a link for you. Okay, National Security Act of 1947. So let's add both of these links in here. Almost done. Alright, that is done. Whoops, that is not what I wanted to do. There we go. Let's move on up here to 1949. Baseball Major League record 4 Grand Slams hit. Or record 4 Grand Slams hit. Nice. And now I want some breakfast at Denny's. I want a Grand Slam. 1940, Nagagawa Soen, Japanese Zen teacher, received Dharma transmission. Dharma transmission? What is that? Like, it has to be something spiritual. Oh, in Chan and Zen Buddhism, Dharma transmission is a custom in which a person is established as a successor in an unbroken lineage of teachers and disciples of a spiritual bloodline, or Kemyaku, or Keshimyaku. This kind of sounds like the inspiration for the Avatar thing. Theoretically traced back to the Buddha himself, the Dharma lineage reflects the importance of family structures in ancient in ancient China, and forms a symbolic and ritual recreation of this system for the monastical family. Interesting. And by Avatar, I'm of course talking about Atla, not, you know, the Na'vi or any of those blue people. Anyway, moving on up to 1951, a streetcar named Desire, film directed by Elia Kazan, based on Tennessee Williams' 1947 play of the same name, starring Marlon Brando and Vivian Leigh, premiered at the Warner Theater in New York City. Alright. While that was going on, The Day the Earth Stood Still, science fiction film depicted by Robert Wise and starring Michael Rennie, opened. Alright. 4 years later, 1955, Willie Mays hit record-tying 9th home run at Ebbets Field. He ties with Joe Adcock. And once again, I haven't said this in a while, this picture reminds me of every time my dad is trying to find his glasses. Like, I can't find my glasses. I just can't find them anywhere. Like, oh, there they are. 1958, the Fresno drop. Bank of America mailed out 60,000 Bank of America cards in Fresno, California. The first credit card, later renamed the Visa. Hey, look at that. And did you know that credit cards got its start with food? Very much like the whole Michelin star system and all that stuff and whatnot. Like, credit cards initially started as an exclusive club just for like a handful of restaurants, and it allowed you to eat and use a credit card and pay later. And then it expanded from there. Moving on up to 1959, Vanguard 3 was launched into Earth orbit. 1961, we have a pretty big article here. Transair Sweden DC-6 passenger aircraft chartered by the United Nations for transit to ceasefire negotiations during the Congo crisis crashed near Ndola, northern Rhodesia, present-day Zambia, killing 16, including UN Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld, the second Secretary General of the United Nations, and 15 others. Official inquiries never determined the cause. That sounds like they killed him. That is very fishy. 1962, Bob Aspromonte set National League third baseman record of 57 consecutive errorless games. Nice. That same time, Charlie Finley was denied permission to move the A's to the Dallas-Fort Worth. All right. While that was going on as well, 1962, Rwanda, Burundi, Jamaica, and Trinidad were admitted from the 105th to 108th to members of the United Nations. All right. 1 year later, we have the final Major League Baseball game at Polo Grounds, New York City. 1,752 people went to see the Philadelphia Phillies defeat the New York Mets 5-1. Wow, that's a good game. We also have 1963. The USSR ordered 58.5 million barrels of cereal from Australia. What? What? That's a weird thing. Like, what? Okay, here we go. Breaking history. What is this? Okay, well, this is just the same thing. I'm not getting an actual full-on article about that. So, anyway, moving on up to 1964, the TV sitcom series da-da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da. Addams Family. They're creepy and they're kooky. I don't want to copyright. Starring John Astin, Carolyn Jones, Jackie Krogan, and Ted Cassidy, premiered on ABC. Ran for 2 seasons. Only 2 seasons. Wow, that's a short stint. I thought it went on for a while. It was so popular. Fester! Good old Uncle Fester puts a light bulb in his mouth and electrocutes himself to light it up. What a guy. 1965, Mel Brooks and Buck Henry's spy spoof sitcom Get Smart, starring Don Adams, Barbara Feldon, and Edward Platt, debuted on NBC TV. While that was going on, we had Mickey Mantle Day at Yankee Stadium. Mantle played his 2000th game. Alright. We also have in 1965, TV sitcom I Dream of Jeannie, starring Barbara Eden as a 2,000-year-old genie, and Larry Hagman as an astronaut who became her master, premiered on NBC, and that was a good show too. Like, that's weird. Like, I don't watch modern day, but when I was a kid, I used to watch every now and then, you know, these old sitcoms, you know, like, you know, I Dream of Jeannie, what was that, oh man, it just, Happy Days was a good one. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, rock. Yeah. Anyway, we also have 1966. Baltimore quarterback Johnny Unitas threw 4 touchdown passes in 38-23 win at the Minnesota to surpass YA title as NFL's career leader with 212. Finished career with 290 touchdown passes. Nice. 1967, Yellowknife replaced Ottawa as capital of Northwest Territories in Canada. Huh. Is it still the capital, or is it Ottawa again? Yellowknife. I've never heard of Yellowknife. Any Canadians out there who know a little bit more about this, please let us know in the comment section. And actually, do we have any live chats here? Let's see. We do not. Moving on up to 1969, U.S. singer Tiny Tim, what the hell? Tiny Tim, at the age of 37, yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier, and Victoria Miss Vicky Buninger, at the age of 17, got engaged. 37 and 17. Like, that's a 20-year discrepancy, and she's underage. Yikes! Why? Whoa. Whoa. Anyway, 1971, Momofuku Ando markets the first cup noodle, packaging it in a waterproof polyester container. Hey, cup noodles! We know about that. Every college student's, you know, way of life. That's how you survive. We also have 1972, the first black National League umpire. It was Art Williams for Los Angeles versus San Diego. All right, cool. 1973, German FR and German DR were admitted to the UN. So Federal Republic and Democratic Republic, I guess. So East and West, yeah. 1 year later, 1974, Hurricane Fifi hit coast of Honduras with 110-mile-per-hour winds, causing the deaths of about 5,000 people. And I will bet you a nickel that if they had called it, you know, something other than, oh, it's Hurricane Fifi, Hurricane Fifi. No, if they call it Hurricane Get the Fuck Out, it's gonna kill you, then less than 5,000 people would have died. So, yeah. 1975, U.S. publishing heiress turned bank robber Patty Hearst was captured by FBI in San Francisco, California. Yeah, Patty Hearst. 1 year after that, 1976, Chinese Communist Party chairman Mao Zedong's funeral took place in Beijing, China. Alright. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out in your little red book. We also have 1976, MLB Cleveland Indians player-manager Frank Robinson's last game as player. Alright. While that was going on, Reverend Sun Myung Moon held a God Bless America convention at Yankee Stadium in New York City. Alright. 1977, Brooks Robinson Night in Baltimore. Cool. While that was going on, U.S. Voyager 1 took the first space photograph of Earth and Moon together. So let's take a look at that here. 1977. Ooh, okay. So is this picture here. So that's the first photograph of the Earth and the Moon in one shot. Wow. Wow. You know, people look at a picture like this for about 2 seconds and then move on, and they don't stop and think. You know? Like, we're just a blue ball, you know, floating around out there in the vast emptiness of infinity. And we're worried about stupid things down on this terrestrial level. You know, you can see the stars in the background. This picture is breathtaking. Anyway, let's move on up here. What else we got? 1978, WKRP in Cincinnati, an ensemble TV sitcom created by Hugh Wilson and set in a struggling radio station, debuted on CBS. Alright. While that was going on, all 4 KISS members released solo albums. I think we're going to talk about KISS again here in a little bit. 1979, Stephen Locks appointed as California's first openly gay judge. Alright. While that was going on, The Who opened New York City concerts at Madison Square Garden. So multiple. And I'm talking about the band The Who, not the World Health Organization. So, they're a different Who. Which I'm surprised that those two haven't gotten into some kind of, like, you know, name lawsuit, much like how the World Wrestling Federation and the World Wildlife Foundation did at one time. We also have 1980, Royals Willie Wilson stole American League record 20 consecutive base. Wow. That's impressive. While that was happening, Soyuz 38 carried 2 cosmonauts, one of which was Cuban, to Salyut 6 space station. Hey, Cubans in outer space. I did not know there were any out there at the time. Well, that's cool. 1981, Assemblée Nationale voted to abolish capital punishment in France. Alright. 1 year later, Sabra and Shatila massacres. Christian militia massacre at least 700 Palestinians in retaliation for the assassination of Bashir Grimyal. Yikes. 365 days later, 1983, George Meekin completed 2,426-day, 19,000 mile walk across Western Hemisphere. Whoa, this guy walked across the entire Western Hemisphere. That's impressive. And here we go, 1983 as well. Kiss first unmasked, no makeup, appearance on MTV. All right. We also have 1983, New Orleans Saints' first OT victory overtime, defeating the Chicago Bears, 34-31. And 1984, Joe Kittinger completed the first solo balloon crossing of Atlantic. Wow, that's ballsy right there. While that was going on, the Tigers clinched the American League East Championship, spent all year in first place. Whoa. 1984 as well. Tim Raines was the first player with 4 consecutive 70 stolen base seasons. Keep an eye on this guy. This guy's stealing bases. Wow. 1985, BBC Radio reported prime number 2 to the power of 216,091-1 found in Houston. Whatever the hell that means. 1987, Detroit first baseman Darrell Evans hit home run number 30 off Bill Wegman in 5th inning of Tigers' 7-6 win over the Milwaukee Brewers. The first 40-year-old to hit 30 MLB home runs in a season. Well, good on you, man. Let's give you a little cheer here. We also have 1987, the film thriller Fatal Attraction, directed by Adrian Lyne, starring Michael Douglas and Glenn Close, was released. Alright. While that was going on, the U.S. and USSR signed an accord to remove mid-range missiles. Okay. 1988, Burma suspended its constitution. That's an eyebrow raiser right there. And the Magna Charta Universitatium was signed to celebrate university traditions and mark 900th anniversary of the founding of Bologna University, the oldest in the world. Huh. 1990, a 500-pound, 6-foot Hershey Kiss was displayed at One Times Square, New York City. Let's take a look at that. Let's see if there's a photo of it. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, there we go. There's a very big kiss right there. Huh, look at them all just wrapping them in foil. The awful things I endure, an account of being me. What? Alright. 1990 as well, and Atlanta was chosen to host the 1996 Centennial Summer Olympics. Alright. 1990, Crude prices outpaced increases in product prices, and there is talk of cutting refinery runs. While that was happening, Liechtenstein became a member of the United Nations. Oh, Liechtenstein. All right, welcome to the club. 1 year later, 1991, NCAA placed Tennessee on 2 years probation for football recruiting violations. Oh, come on, Tennessee, what are you doing? You know, like, am I not enough of a mistake for you guys to have been made? Like, you know, come on. Like, 1991 as well, Yugoslavia began a naval blockade of 7 Adriatic port cities. 1993, LA Mighty Ducks played their first NHL preseason game against Penguins. All right. 1 year later, in 1994, we have the first President's Golf Club, or Cup Golf, Robert Trent Jones Golf Course. Davis Love III was undefeated as the U.S. defeated international team 20-12 in inaugural events. All right. Thank you, Mr. Love III. 1994, Farm Aid the 7th was held in New Orleans, Louisiana. Performers included Willie Nelson, Neil Young, Neville Brothers, Spin Doctors, Gin Blossoms, John Connolly, Chris Christopherson, Al Hirt, whatever, and Pete Fountain. 1994 as well. Ken Burns' documentary miniseries Baseball premiered on PBS. Emmy for Outstanding International or Informal Series. Emmy for Outstanding Informational Series. All right. 1995, Art Model first met, he claims, with the Baltimore to move Browns there from Cleveland. 1 year later, in 1996, Robert Clemens tied his own Major League record with 20 strikeouts. All right. We also have in 1997, yeah, this guy, good old butt chin. 1997, controversial art exhibition Sensation, featuring works by young British artists from the collection of Charles Saatchi, opened at the Royal Academy in London. We also have in 1997, Steve Ballesteros and Nick Faldo were elected to the World Golf Hall of Fame. Nice. Oh, look at that guy. That guy looks like he's straight out of the 70s. While that was happening, Ted Turner gave $1 billion to the United Nations, creating the public charity, the United Nations Foundation. Also in 1997, voters in Wales voted yes, 50.3% in a referendum on Welsh autonomy. Very, very close. Very close. But let's give them a cheer. Autonomy! 1998, Rush Hour, directed by Brett Ratner, starring Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, released. Jackie Chan's Hollywood breakthrough. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Bitch, nobody knows how to understand words coming out of your mouth. 1998, Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, the ICANN, was formed. Alright. So let's see, Internet Corporation. Let's look this up here really quick, because that's an interesting thing. It is a non-profit organization which was chosen to take charge of the privatization of the administration of the Internet. Their role would be to implement policy to help transition the domain system to the private sector. Alright. That's some tech stuff, wizardry right there. Let's put these links in the underbar description section. These will all be accessible, of course, after the stream. So hang tight. What else do we have here? Moving on up to 2001, we have the first mailing of anthrax letters from Trenton, New Jersey, in the 2001 anthrax attacks. And yeah, like I was a freshman in high school, and I thought they were mailing them out to everybody and everything. Like I thought we were gonna get hit. I was honestly scared of getting anthrax in the mail for like years. Even today, like every now and then, like I side eye, my mail. So. Moving on up to 2003, we just got joined by the Golden Loon. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's going on?
We are already in the 2000s. You've missed everything. A lot of actually really cool events and whatnot.
Really?
Really unfortunate, actually.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah. Well, you can watch it later.
Yeah, true.
Well, we have 2003, the United Kingdom's Local Government Act of 2003, repealing controversial Section 28 of the Local Government Act of 1988. Received royal assent. Alright, well, let's see here. Section 28 of the Local Government Act of 1988. Let's look that up here. Section 28. Promotion of homosexuality. Prohibited promotion of homosexuality. Okay. So, okay, that I understand and I agree with that. Like, remove prohibiting.
Yeah.
You know? So, 2004, Farm Aid 17 was held in Auburn, Washington. Performers included Willie Nelson, John Mellencamp, Neil Young, Dave Matthews, Lucina Williams, Steve Earle, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Mark Broussard. We also have another Farm Aid in 2005. Farm Aid 18 held in Tinley Park, Illinois. Performers included Willie Nelson, John Mellencamp, Arlo Guthrie, Buddy Guy, Emmylou Harris, James McMurdy, Jimmy Sturr and his orchestra, John Mayer, Kathleen Edwards, Kenny Chesney, Susan Tedeschi, Widespread Panic, and Wilco. Well, that was a little bit bigger than the previous one.
Yeah, as far as who they've listed there for performers.
Yeah, Widespread Panic. That's,
never heard of them.
I hear about them every time there's a mostly peaceful protest. 2006, right-wing protesters, speak of the devil, riot the building of the Hungarian television in Budapest, Hungary, one day after an audio tape was made public in which Prime Minister Ferenc Gyurcsány admitted he and his party lied during the 2006 general elections. Whoa.
What a surprise. Somebody lied? No.
1 year later, 2007, Buddhist monks joined anti-government protesters in Myanmar, starting what some call the Saffron Revolution. Let's take a look at this Saffron Revolution.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
I am not either. Here we go. Burmese, whatever this is, that has to be their alphabet, I guess. It was a series of economic and political protests and demonstrations that took place during August, September, and October of 2007 in Myanmar. The protests were triggered by the decision of the national military government to remove subsidies on the sales prices of fuel. All right. I don't really fully know what that means. Subsidies, like...
Well, they're taking their fuel's been subsidized. If they take it off, there go the prices sky high.
Okay, then I understand why they rioted.
Just like they've done it in Russia or whatever in years past when they stopped subsidizing bread.
We also have 2007. Pervez Musharraf announced that he will step down as army chief and restore civilian rule to Pakistan, but only after he was re-elected president. What? So re-elect me and then I'll step down as chief. Yeah, sure. Why don't we not elect you and then you won't be chief anyway? You know? How about that? 2009, the 72-year-old run of the soap opera The Guiding Light ended as its final episode of broadcast. Wow, that's a long run. 72 years?
Yeah, some of those...
like, entire cast must have been shifted.
Oh,
like,
yeah, the generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a number of them, and I have never watched them, so I don't remember, but a lot of them just gone years and years and years. You wonder how.
Like Days of Our Lives and whatnot?
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if this is I wonder if this is the longest run or which one is.
Longest run soap opera. Guiding Light. Yeah.
That is.
It is.
Okay.
It began as a radio serial on January 25th, 1937. Holy crap, it began as a radio show. Wow. It was subsequently broadcast on television from June 30th, 1952 until September 18th, 2009. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Moving on up to 2012, 26 people were killed in a fire at a Panamax gas facility in Reynosa, Mexico. Ay. Gas facility fire. Not good.
No.
2012 as well, the Chicago Teachers Union and Chicago Public Schools reached a deal that ended an 8-day strike. Alright. And this one is really weird here. We have the world's first mother-to-daughter uterus transplant undertaken at the University of Gothenburg.
Whoa, that sounds weird.
Like, so when the daughter gives birth, is she giving birth to her own sister? Because it's her mother's uterus. You know, it's her DNA, it's her genetics, it's her organ.
I have no idea.
Like, is that your sister daughter? Like, kind of like how, you know, my brother is also my nephew because my birth mother is my sister legally because her mother adopted me. Like, that is a weird... Would she give birth to her own sister? What the hell? Like, what? Anyway, 2 years later, 2014, 8 people, including 2 children, were shot dead in Bell, Florida. Yikes. That's not good. We also have Emma Watson delivered an address to a standing ovation at the United Nations headquarters in New York City, helping launch the UN Woman campaign He for She, which calls for men to advocate for gender equality. Oh, you shut up. You know, like, we are equal. Like, you know, like, not wholly and heartily, but, like, the amount of things that they're complaining about versus what they actually had legit grievances over just, like, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, they have it so good. They're just bored. You know, they just need something to do, so they're just going around complaining and starting problems. But, I mean, like, really. You know? And, of course, it's Emma Watson. Scotland, in 2014 as well, Scotland voted to stay a member of the United Kingdom in an independence referendum. Yeah, as I said, they have to, because, you know, if they become independent, then they have to apply to become part of the EU again. And, well, they're already not in the EU, so, but they are still part of NATO.
I was going to say NATO is really the key there.
Yeah, NATO, not the EU, NATO. There's so many of these things.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like you know, we have the UN, we have the EU, we have NATO, we have, I know there's one more. Like, I don't know. Anyway, 2016, the earliest known fish hooks at 23,000 years old, discovered on Okinawa Island, Japan. Findings published in PNAS Journal. 23,000-year-old fish hooks. Wow. 2016 as well, in Russian elections, Vladimir Putin backed United Russia Party won 54% of the parliamentary seats, led by Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev. What a surprise. Well, 1 year after that, England footballer Wayne Rooney pled guilty to drunk driving and was banned for driving for 2 years. You know what? Ban him for life. You know, because driving is a privilege, not a right. Yeah. That is a 2-ton death machine with controlled explosions under the hood. And, you know, you're gonna screw around with that. The instant you drive without a seatbelt, you don't signal, you're done. You're done. You know, we need to have the strictest enforcement of road laws in the history of ever. You know, because until people are you know, get their face shoved into the poo, they will never realize. You know.
True.
And it blows my mind. We entrust 16-year-olds to drive, but they still have to ask permission to go to the bathroom during class. And we trust them with a 2-ton death machine? Like, madness. Anyway, 2017 as well, Hurricane Maria passed over the Caribbean island of Dominica as a Category 5 hurricane, destroying 90% of structures and killing 27.
Yeah.
Only 27, though. That's it still sucks, but it's not, you know, Category 5. You'd expect, that's, you know, in the hundreds, maybe thousands of deaths.
Practically just wiped the island out.
I guess they all evacuated, you know?
I guess. I don't know how. Yeah, that's a pretty low number for that size of a hurricane.
2018 as well, Amnesty International said 400 civilians have been killed in conflicts between Cameroon soldiers and Anglophone separatists in 2018. All right? While that was going on, China announced a $60 billion tariff on U.S. imports a day after the U.S. imposed $200 billion worth of new tariffs on Chinese goods. Wow. It ain't going to hurt us as much as it hurts them. So
yeah, that's for sure.
Also, 2018, South Africa's Constitutional Court legalized cannabis use by adults in private places. Hey, hey!
What country is that?
South Africa. Wow. You know what? Why don't we move to South Africa? Then we can claim ourselves as African Americans, and then we can go and do all sorts of stuff, you know, illegal things, and then just get away with it. You know? And I'm not saying, you know, anything against black people. I'm saying because Elon Musk is an African American and he's whiter than chalk. People are using that term as a very incorrect term, you know. But if we're going to use incorrect terms, then, you know, like, let's take advantage of it.
The majority of the population is black.
Well, it's still an incorrect term, you know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, an African American, you know, you're someone with dual citizenship. Right? You know, like a French American or a Polynesian Russian, you know, like whatever. Like, you know, you're a dual citizenship. It has nothing to do with your skin color. It has something to do with your nationality, you know?
Well, you're looking at people that have been here for generations, and, you know, you still call them African American. Well, they're an American.
Well, yeah, well, they're a human. You know, like what's with the divisive terms? You know?
Well, American isn't a divisive term.
Well, no, African American is, because now you're putting, and especially because they're putting color onto that, they're utilizing it. Once again, Elon Musk, you know? So, anyway, moving on up to 2019, boarding school fire killed at least 27 in Monrovia, Liberia. Yikes. Also in 2019, Indian government proposed a ban on e-cigarettes. Boo! I don't like that. Oh, there's a... Take that, India. 2019 as well, Saudi Arabia's defense ministry said Iran was to blame for drone attack on Saudi oil facilities. Alright, I remember that.
Yeah, I do too.
And okay, here we go. Speaking of you know, the federals having too much power over the state, the U.S. White House barred California and other states from setting their own emission standards. What?
Yeah.
What? What authority does the feds have to do with what the state does? The states are supposed to be in power, you know? The feds only do what the states tell them to do, you know? That's what it's supposed to be. Like, as you've enlightened me on that.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
2020 as well, Cyclone Ianos, a rare medicine, began sweeping across Greece, killing 3. Medicaid? What? Hold on a sec. What is a medicine? Never heard of that. Let's see here. Search. Oh, Mediterranean tropical-like cyclone. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting. So let's add that in the underbar of the description. Where's my thing? There it is. All right. What do we have here? Okay, Mediterranean hurricane, a Medicaid. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Kind of like that hurricane we had not too long ago.
Quake?
Well, yeah, we got hit by Hillary.
Oh, that's
and then,
right. That's right.
And then Ojai got hit by a quake.
Yeah.
We got a hurricane. Like, is this the apocalypse? What the hell? We also have in 2021, U.S. authority... Actually, don't. 2020, earliest dated evidence for the human species in the Arabian Peninsula as fossilized footprints 120,000 years old, uncovered in Saudi Arabia's Nufun Desert. Wow. 120,000 years old human footprints.
That's
Yeah. Like that Tiesto
amazing,
song,
yeah.
Footprints All Over the World. 2021, U.S. authorities began moving to repatriate more than 10,000 mostly Haitian migrants living under a bridge in Del Rio, Texas. I remember all that. And that was the same time when they were going around about, like, the horse people were going around hitting people or lassoing them, and that was completely and totally a lie. Remember all that?
Them. They're using their whips and they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fabricated.
Yep. 2022, magnitude 6.9 earthquake struck Taiwan's southeastern coast north of Taitung. And that's a big quake. So.
Yeah, that's huge.
And we have 2 more articles here. 2022, Typhoon Namado, one of the biggest ever to strike Japan, made landfall on Kyushu Island with winds of 180 kilometers per hour or 112 miles per hour, forcing 4 million people to evacuate. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a big evacuation.
It's weird. We have different names for different regions. Yeah, hurricane.
Hurricane and typhoon. Well, yeah, same thing. What? Seriously,
Yeah.
why?
I don't know.
Like, and then like when I was talking about a hurricane, I've said that to a couple people online. They're like, well, actually, you didn't get by a hurricane. It was a tropical storm. And I'm a geek. It's like, shut up with your freaking like technicalities. It was a hurricane. Shut up and let me have this. You know?
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's an apocalyptic event. Let me have it. And then last and certainly least, 2022, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. He still said, quote, we still have a problem with COVID, end quotes, and, quote, we're doing a lot of work with it, but the pandemic is over, end quote, in a CBS TV interview. Why is that even highlighted? Why do we care? Like,
Yeah.
it's all malarkey and bullcrap.
Yeah, we have the flu too.
Yeah. So, see, we were talking about this. Here's something interesting, all right? You look at all of these diseases and everything, and the recurring ones, like, like the flu, the cold, things
different
that,
strains.
different things. This COVID-19, the China virus, the Kung flu, whatever it is you want to call it, it is the first man-made recurring disease that will be here forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, wow. Wow.
Thanks, China.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, Fauci. Trust the science, Fauci. Piece of shit. Anyway, that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar in the description for any links you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. Go check out our link tree, check out our affiliates, check out our social networkings, our other video sharing, streaming sites, and all that stuff. And of course, all these links that we've been gathering, go check it out. It'll be there after this live stream. Anyway, for your dose of Pacifist Daily, we stream every Friday through Tuesday. That is a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
What the fudge?
Oh, hey, Alice! Welcome at the end of the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was every Friday through Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, which is 12 Mountain, 1 Central.
1 p.m. Central and 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
There you go.
For all of you and all of us, I'm Xander.
I am the Alice who came right at the end.
Yeah.
And the Golden Loon.
And you, viewer, are you. And until you catch us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Until then, toodles!